Well, welcome back to We Don't Color on the Dog. We've got with us Pensacola City Administrator Captain Tim Kinsella. Tim, thank you for doing this today.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Rick. It's always good to spend time with you.
Well, you shocked us last week with the announcement that you were going to leave the city and go to work at Navy Federal Credit Union. Talk a little bit about that decision.
Sure. So it was an unexpected opportunity. I'm very happy here at the city. It has been a joy working with Mayor Reeves and the team here. You've got really amazing people working in the city. But it was, as I was very clear with Mayor Reeves at the beginning, and this isn't a career for me. I'm not a career city administrator, but I wanted to be here to help the mayor where I could. So I wasn't out looking for other opportunities. Perfectly happy where I am for the foreseeable future. But when opportunity knocks, especially with opportunity like this, it only knocks once, right? It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. So I thought long and hard about it. I had very, very long conversations late into the night with my wonderful wife, and we decided this was the best thing for my family and for me and for my future. And that was immediately, my heart was very, very heavy because I love the city and I loved working with the mayor, and I knew that this was going to come at a very difficult time for the mayor with his, a lot of things that are in the papers, justified or unjustified, with him, and I didn't want to pile on him or distract from anything that he's doing in the city, and I knew that was going to be the case because there's folks out there that are going to take information and turn it into whatever. Right. And anytime there's a vacuum, folks will fill that vacuum with whatever narrative that they prefer to tell themselves.
Well, we sort of live in that age. That's one reason I reached out to you right away when I heard about it. And I appreciate you being frank with me, as we've always had that relationship. So I appreciate that. When you look back at your time with the city, what are some of your takeaways?
Gosh, there's so many that I have. I'd say, first of all, the people of this town should really understand the dedication of the people in the city. And I don't say that flippantly. It's always folks leaving a position like this always want to say platitudes about how great it was. But I mean it. I've worked in a lot of organizations at the highest levels of this government. And you've got folks here that work under very difficult circumstances with very, very difficult tasks ahead of them, but they do it knowing that it's for the good of their city because it's where they live. The outcomes may not always be what the citizens want, but it's not for lack of trying and not for lack of caring. And I was really floored by that when I came here, because everybody has their idea of municipal government, that it's inefficient, it's full of people that just sit at their desk every day just collecting a paycheck, and that couldn't be further from the truth. It's been an honor working with the men and women in this city.
When you look at, I think we could characterize Mayor Reeves as a visionary. I think that's an accurate thought
100%.
about him. But there are challenges in being a visionary, because the
Hmm.
implementation part is, having a vision is important, but the implementation is a difficult part. What are some of the things that you think that person coming behind you, where should they be looking first?
Yeah, that's great. Sorry, the light's going off in this place.
So when they're cutting your power, your card's not going to work at the elevator. You're gonna,
But this is government efficiency at work. You see, when I don't move, light goes off. So that's when I fall asleep. I get better. It's at my desk when I'm sleeping, the light goes off. No, so you hit the nail on the head right there, right? So it's one thing to be a visionary. It's another thing to actually get the stuff done. And it was a big reason why I wanted to come to the city and why I wanted to help our mayor, because he's not only is he a great friend, but I believe 100% in what he's doing. I would not have touched this place with a barge pole if I didn't believe that. So, but there's the tension between vision and action, the vision and execution.
Mhm.
And execution is where the rubber meets the road. And he's doing a lot of really hard things that require a redirection by the city. And when you're taking a beast, 850 people working here that have been working under the same, let's say, the same environment, the same rules, the same sort of, we've got time to get this done. And he's bringing a new urgency to that.
Mhm.
And before the end of this term, because who knows what will happen next term, I'm confident that he'll get elected because he deserves to be. But who knows what happens, and he knows that. So he's got a limited amount of time to get as much done as he can to set the city on a trajectory going forward. We had a couple of mayors before us that have started that trajectory, and now we got to finish it. Now we got to get it across the finish line. But things like South Palafox, that is hard. That is really hard to get that done. Not only because we have to ensure that the businesses on that street can actually be viable during that time, but then there's finding the money to get it done. There's getting the right contractor to get it done, making sure it's done in a way that's going to last for the next 100 years. There's the Bay Center. Everybody knows the Bay Center needs it needs a lot of work, and it could be a catalyst for something amazing here in this city. But it's hard to get it done because there's so many stakeholders involved in that, and getting them all around the table to agree on something that is in the best interest, not of their district, but of the city and the county as a whole. And I think that is perhaps one of the hardest things in our system of government with the county and the city, is to get our elected officials out of what concerns their district and into what concerns the entire area, to do things for the best of all the districts, not just there. And that's a challenge. Nothing against them. That's just our system of government. And he's tackling that. He's taken it on. So there's that part. There's the external part from the city and coordinating all of those things in a very, very politically diverse area. And then there's internally having to redirect this battleship, this massive vessel that is the city, and redirect it to being more agile and more capable to react when necessary, to be able to go in the right direction, right? To not be locked into just doing one thing because, well, that's what we said we're going to do. Well, no, things change. And that's where I kind of came in, was to help him do that. He's doing all the external stuff. I'd prefer to be the guy not in the spotlight and helping the people here in the city. So I've been asked plenty of times before, what am I most proud of? I don't like to say what I'm most proud of because I'm not doing anything. It's the folks of the city that are doing it. But all I'm doing is to help remove the barriers so they can do their job and do what's required to enact the mayor's vision. And it's been a challenge because it takes a long time to change a culture. But we're getting there. We're getting there. And the city has to be more agile in order for it to realize the potential that it's capable of.
That brings to mind, that there are two trains of thought in bringing in leaders to an organization. One is someone who's familiar with municipal government, that gives them a certain amount of heads up on, or head start on some things because they have some examples of how it should operate. And then there's you, someone who without any municipal experience, and that brings into why not? That question gets asked, I would think, more often. Talk a little bit about that, because I think there's value in it, but it's also somewhat of a risk in that they may not really ever grasp how the things should operate.
Yeah, Rick. Sometimes, Rick, you can actually be pretty perceptive.
I've had a cup of coffee. It's early in the morning.
That question, why not, is absolutely critical to us being innovative and us thinking outside the box and then trying to find ways to get things done. Why not? And then how do we get to yes? Mm-hmm. And when we ask those questions, then we find out what are the barriers to getting there. The answer may be no, but at least we know why it's a no. So coming in with no preconceived notions, what the heck do I know about running a city? Sure, I ran a base, but it's a bit different. In a military environment, it's different. So I'm familiar with the police force and the fire department, the public works, and all that stuff I had on the base. But it's different here in the municipality, especially when you have elected officials who are your sort of legislative body for that. So it's a whole new dynamic that you got to worry about. State law, federal law, all those things that I'm not familiar with, so I got to learn. So what it does is, number one, it allows me to come in with a clean sheet with no preconceptions, to ask why are we doing it this way? This seems inefficient. And then I get the answer. And then I say, well, that doesn't make sense to me. Let's do it this way. And more often than not, but I don't do that. I don't do that arbitrarily. It is in concert with the people that are working here. And that brings me to really the most important point, is trust. It's that I've got to ensure that the right team is in place here so I can trust them, that when they give me advice and give the mayor advice, that it is unbiased, it's honest, and it is looking forward for where we need to go. So I think maybe what I brought is a clarity in that view, because I didn't have any baggage coming in, and I could ask those questions. And then it's creating that team of people that we think will help to move us forward, and that can be a good team for the mayor. Because in the first 2 years, he was essentially the city administrator, the deputy city administrator, all of that. I don't think he had the team that he needed, and he grabbed the city by the scruff of the neck and dragged it along. I am flabbergasted that he got to do as much as he did in that short period of time. And any executive, I don't care how good of a leader you are, any executive from Eisenhower to Lincoln to you name it, you need a team around you that is going to be able to enact your vision. And that's what we were trying to build here. When you saw some personnel changes coming in and out, it's all good people, all wonderful people that are dedicated professionals, but you need the right people in there that jive with the chief executive So there's no barrier in communication. There's no barrier in execution. There's honest talking with each other to get them there so they can enact his vision according to the will of the people.
Two more questions, and then I'll let you go, and you can take your nap. One is, the mayor recently announced adding, in essence, really creating a strategic initiatives area, and I know that you would be, what are your thoughts on that, and why do you think that's going to be important going into the future?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. So we restructured how the seventh floor up here works. So essentially, the chain of command. When I got here, there was an administrator and two deputy administrators, and they had carved up the city into, six departments each. As soon as I got in, I realized I can't work like that. That means that you've got three people running the city with different leadership styles, different communication styles, and all of that. And it doesn't work in any organization. So I needed to make it a clear chain of command. I would take all of the departments, with the exception of the enterprises who Amy Miller held on to, but those day-to-day operational ones, I would take control of those. So there was a clear line of communication from them to me, to the mayor. So there was no doubt in the direction that we wanted to go, and that they would get a consistent level of leadership and consistent messaging from one source. They appreciated it. It created a whole new level of efficiency. It created a new level of, let's say, honesty between us, right? I believe in accountability, so I can hold them accountable. And if they're not, because I can't do their job, right? I cannot, the mayor can't do it. So I have to step back, let them do it. And if they're not doing it, then let's talk about how we can do it better. So that sort of system that we created, we don't want to lose that. The directors love it. The mayor likes it. It makes it just a much more smoother flow. So how do we keep that going after I leave? So part of that is the reason the mayor was so involved before I got here was all of those big strategic projects that were going on. And he had his thumb on those to make sure that they're happening properly. The reason he had to have his thumb on them was because he had three people running all these projects in different ways. So now that I'm leaving in that interim, and even going forward, we've been talking about this for the past 6 months, to have some people here where it is their job to have their thumb on those strategic initiatives, like Palafox, like Stormwater, like Hollis T. Williams Park, that now they are the ones that are carrying the water back and forth from the mayor to those directors. So there's a clear line of communication. And the administrator, when he comes in, can take all 18 departments, but isn't worried about running those strategic initiatives. He can worry about the day-to-day normal operations. So this is it's unburdening the mayor and it's unburdening the future administrator, but it's also creating a clear line of communication from the directors to the mayor.
All right. Last question. What would be your advice to your successor?
Sit back, learn, listen. Don't do anything for the first 3 months. Get to know this place. And above all, be an advocate for your directors. Be their voice, be their ears, be their eyes in the mayor's office, and help them to have honest communication with the front office so there's no mistakes about the direction that we're going. Because when that happens and the mayor gets blindsided, bad things happen.
Right, for sure.
And the directors, and that's about building trust. So you do that and you listen to them and you listen to what it is that they need and you carry their water honestly with open heart and eyes to the mayor, then they gain your trust and then magic starts happening.
Tim, I wish you all the luck in the future. You've got my phone number and I have yours, so we'll stay in touch. But thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, Rick, and I've really enjoyed all of our conversations together. I look forward to more in the future.
All right. Take care.